Motorola recently launched the third generation of the Moto G in late July. 5 months later, it has killed it, sort of, by launching the Moto G Turbo Edition. Although there's very little difference between the two phones on paper, even smaller still in actual usage, why does it feel that the Moto G Turbo Edition is what the Moto G Gen 3 should have been, in the first place? The answer is pretty straightforward. The Moto G Turbo Edition is what the Moto G Gen 3 should have been, period. Place the two phones side by side, and you won't make out the difference. Why? Well, because there isn't any. The Moto G Gen 3 and Moto G Turbo Edition are exact carbon copies of each other. That's not all. Both the phones are rocking the same 5-inch HD IPS screen, near vanilla Android 5.1.1 Lollipop with a planned upgrade to Marshmallow software, 13 megapixel plus 5 megapixel camera combo and a 2470 mAh battery inside. So, what's different? The difference is in the details, ladies and gentlemen. While the Moto G Gen 3 is only IPX7 certified, the Moto G Turbo Edition comes with IP67 certification. There's a difference there. The International Protection Marking IP code determines the dust and water resistance ability of devices. The first digit, after IP, marks the resistance of a device to dust particles, while the second digit marks its water resistance or proofing capabilities. The Moto G Gen 3 hasn't been tested and certified to hold sand and dust. It is water resistant though. The Moto G Turbo Edition, on the other hand, is both dust and water resistant. This makes the new Moto G Turbo the true rugged smartphone. Of course its utility would depend on the user, but at least you know the Moto G Turbo can withstand harsher environment. The Moto G Gen 3 was launched with a quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 410 processor at a time when the Snapdragon 615 was picking up steam. The latter was and has grown to become the true mid-range processor that you could ask for. Although the Moto G Gen 3 was smooth as butter, for the most part, we always imagined how things would be had Motorola chosen a potent processor like the Snapdragon 615 at that time. 5 months later, Motorola has come back to its senses and launched the Moto G Turbo Edition with Snapdragon 615. That's our "we told you so" moment right there. That being said, the difference again would be in the finer details. Just expect everything to be a little snappier, turbocharged as Motorola would like to call it, than before. The Adreno 405 inside the Moto G Turbo still won't give you jaw-dropping frame rates while graphic-intensive gaming, but we'll take that any day over the Adreno 306 inside the Moto G Gen 3. But that's not the only thing to note here. Look at it this way, the Moto G Turbo now becomes a mini version of the Moto X Play minus the Moto X goodies. Now, who wouldn't want that? The Moto G Gen 3 was launched in two variants, one with 1 GB RAM and 8 GB internal memory Rs $11,999 and the other with 2 GB RAM and 16 GB internal memory Rs $12,999. We still have no idea why. Yes, there's a price difference of Rs $1,000 if that makes any difference, but as of now the lower price variant is out of stock on Flipkart, which is the official seller of all Motorola phones. The Moto G Turbo Edition, on the other hand, has just the one variant, 2 GB RAM and 16 GB internal memory, which is priced at Rs $14,499. Unless Motorola cuts the price of the Moto G Gen 3 and makes the 8 GB memory variant available, the future of the Moto G Gen 3 seems all but jeopardized. Just like buying the Moto G Gen 3 8 GB memory variant made little sense back then, buying the Moto G Gen 3 16 GB memory variant makes little sense now that the Moto G Turbo Edition has arrived. Both the Moto G Gen 3 and Moto G Turbo Edition come with similar sized batteries, which are non-removable. Battery life is awesome on both phones. But, while the Moto G Turbo Edition supports fast charging, turbocharging, the Moto G Gen 3 doesn't. No matter how awesome the battery life, you will have to charge your phone at some point of time. The turbocharger supplied with the Moto G Turbo claims to provide up to 6 hours of battery life in just 15 minutes of charging. The Moto G Gen 3, on the other hand, takes its own sweet time to charge fully. Another small, but important, thing to know is that the Moto X Play that also supports fast charging doesn't ship with a turbocharger inside the box. the Moto G Turbo Edition does. Now that you have a point-by-point breakdown of the Moto G Gen 3 and Moto G Turbo Edition in front of you, which one will you choose? For us, the Moto G Gen 3 is all but dead. May it rest in peace.